Good afternoon. Welcome. Just want to open by saying how proud I am of our football team for their effort in Charlottesville on Saturday. Just first road game for our team and several young guys that traveled for the first time and played for the first time on the road. So very encouraged by the way we handled bouncing back from week one and being focused and playing the way I believed we could in that setting, and experience some adversity, which is part of the growth process of your team, and really excited how we responded to that, and having to buckle down and in the first half, especially first quarter, defense having to really set the tone and be in a tough position of just staying with it, and keeping them, and our offense got rolling in the second quarter. So really pleased with our total team effort. Offense, defense, and special teams all played a big role. So in regards to that, players of the game that we like to recognize, offensively, Wes Martin did a tremendous job up front, blocking a lot of difficult fronts, and really encouraged by his leadership and his performance. Very consistent in both weeks. Defensive player of the game was Chris Covington. Played his best game since I've been here, and really encouraged by his growth as well in both leadership. His care factor is extremely high. Played fast, played physical, and made a lot of plays. Really need him to continue to do that. Special teams player of the game, Griffin Oakes, just was huge. That kick before half, 51-yard field goal into the wind. They had put a returner back because it was such a long field goal. We even had a couple comments on the sideline about, hey, did we just take a Hail Mary shot here right before half because of the wind? But I believed in him. I said, no, let's go, let's kick it. And he nailed it, and that was huge, and nailed another 48-yarder into the wind, which was big as well, and which put him in position to be the all-time career field goal leader in our program's history with 55. So we're really excited for him and encouraged by his performance. The offensive scout of the week was a couple guys, Nick Tronti and Alex Rodriguez, call him A-Rod, continuing to give us a tremendous look each week and making us better. Defensive scout players of the week, Josh Brown and Johnny Albamonte, two guys that both got to travel because of their effort they're giving us, and really pleased by the buy-in that our team is showing. Also had some all positives, and from a special teams perspective as well. Hayden Whitehead was recognized as a Ray Guy Awards watch list individual this week, and he's only had 4 punts returned on him in the 16 he's punted for a 27-yard total, and is doing a great job of controlling the ball and putting us in a good position and pinning him down. He's got, I believe, 4 inside the 10 already in 2 games, which is huge, and several inside the 20. So that performance is duly noted. And then Ja'Shawn Harris has been recognized as the Big Ten Specialist of the Week, which is a tremendous honor. And, I really used him as an example to our team because he had an errant decision that he made earlier in the game that was really costly, that put us, really pinned back on a punt return, and made a decision to keep him in the game, stay with him, and let him know I believed him. I talked to him. Hey, I said, I believe in you. And I said, you got to flush it. You got to just press on and keep playing. And he came back with 2 huge returns, and the final one was a big touchdown. He's 4th in the nation currently in punt returns, and just really proud of the way he responded. He's been through a ton of adversity, in his career, and he just keeps fighting, and love his attitude, love his toughness. He owned his mistake, and really proud of that response. The game was kind of that way. We had a really tough situation with Greg Gooch. I don't think I've ever had that happen before, where you are involved in a play where there's no flags called, and then it's reviewed for a potential penalty that is from the press box. And so as that game was unfolding, that would put us up 34-10, and I think pretty much made it very, very difficult on them. And so all that emotion, you run 80-some yards, your whole defense runs, everybody's, having a great reaction. I'm all fired up, and then you're like, uh-oh. And they start explaining what it could be. They really weren't sure on the field. And so then you find out that it's a targeting call, that not only did we not score the defensive touchdown, they get the penalty assessed. They're in scoring range now, and 2 plays later they score. So, but to me, that's a great opportunity to teach. It's a great opportunity to learn how to compete and fight through adversity. And I think we prepared our guys for that situation. We have a name for that, and we talked about that on the sideline, and our guys didn't flinch. We gave up a score. It was on a mistake with one of our pressures, but it wasn't because the guys were all down because of the penalty that was assessed. So bottom line is, sometimes things happen, and it may not seem fair at the time, and you just got to bow up and keep fighting. And our word for last week was grit. And I thought our team showed tremendous grit in our preparation, in our performance, and in the way we finished. And to win on the road is not easy, and against a good football team makes it even more challenging. And I know that was a big game for them, and talking to their guys, and it was a big game for us. And our players responded, and very, very proud. You got to recognize a guy like Peyton Ramsey, who comes in and made tremendous plays for us, and just another example of grit and toughness and mindset. That's what our program wants to be all about. So really, really proud of our players, proud of their performance, and just want to learn from it and continue to press on. Questions?
Did you have a chance to really look at the Gooch hit?
I did. When I first, I only saw it replayed on the screen once, and I didn't think it was a targeting call. When I watched it after the game on film from a different angle, I can see why they called it. I do. It's unfortunate. It's one of those situations where, with the way the rules are written now and the way it's structured for player safety, that kind of hit, when it goes up through and the crown of your helmet hits, the chin of the quarterback, they're going to call that. I think the initial contact was on the shoulder, but then it drives up in through, and so you get a lot of mixed reaction. A lot of people, commented they thought it was a bad call, and, it really doesn't matter what we think. But I think in the way that they're going to call the game at that position for the quarterback position, that's going to get called, and we just got to learn from it. To lower our target, play with the same aggression, same intensity, same toughness. I hate it for Greg, I hate it for our team, because that was a big-time play to make and scoop and score. Those don't happen very often now defensively. So, I was real careful. I didn't stay outside I didn't run past the 25. I learned my lesson on that. But I was hauling tail down the sideline and jumping on everybody, and Fish was giving me a hard time about it. But man, we were excited. And then you get the deflation of that being taken away is a tough deal. So, because I've learned, as you run down the sideline to create a celebration situation, I'm always looking for flags just to make sure there's no penalties that are going to cause it to be called back. And I didn't see any, so I was just ready to get after it. So, but yeah, I do think that was, unfortunately, that was probably the right call.
So in order to avoid something like that, you just have to lower, like he has to.
Yeah, you just gotta, based on the height of the quarterback, you gotta lower your target, and you just gotta be able to sink your hips a little bit more, and with the same toughness and same tenacity, it's hard. That's not one of those penalties where you get on a kid. We had a penalty by another player that I thought was what I call selfish penalty, because it was lack of discipline. We shoved the quarterback late and lost another takeaway. All right. And so that, to me, was a selfish penalty. That was poor judgment. And I was upset with him, and I made that quite clear. And so, but with a guy like Greg, it's an act of aggression, and you just got to lower your target. It's hard. It's tough.
With Hayden, how hard of an adjustment was it for him adjusting to American football, and how hard did he work to not only adjust but to find this early success? Oh,
he's one of the hardest working specialists I've ever been around. Matter of fact, we have to hold him back. If he doesn't have the kind of day he wants, you'll watch him. He'll be out here practicing at night when I have to go out there and say, you've kicked enough. He's just a very, very hardworking young man. I'm sure it's an adjustment, and the kicking part wasn't. But the thing that they have to adjust to, because this is the second one that I've recruited and signed, and they have to get used to people running at them and having the reality that they might hit you. That's what they're not used to in the way that they've been trained. And so just getting them used to being in the, handling that pressure. So we've been working hard on that all spring and in the summer for what we could do with that. And then in this fall camp, just to handle everything. As I'm running towards you, you're running to me. and so that's just kind of what they have to get. Rather than just kicking the ball, that's what he does naturally.
With quarterbacks, how do you juggle snaps now? I mean, is it kind of based on feel, or do you kind of go?
Yeah, I think it's on field. I think we got two good quarterbacks that have two different skill sets that I like, and I know as a defensive coach, you listen to Coach Mendenhall's comments after the game. I mean, it threw him a curveball, and they were expecting one thing and got another, and had schemed accordingly. So I just know that when you have two individuals at a certain position, especially that position that can play at a high level, that's where we want to be. And you got to have two quarterbacks, or three quarterbacks to play a season long, and I'm excited that we have two that have proven they can make plays at a high level. So we want those guys to compete, and we'll make those decisions as it comes. But the bottom line is they're both going to play.
Tom, when you make that, do you kind of go with the hot hand, like,
I think so.
Rich gets too serious, and then...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a gut feel for sure, but I'm just telling you, when you have the ability to, whether it's change pace, change scheme, change things that force him, whether it's a running back that brings a certain skill set and you bring another guy in and he brings a different type of running style, type of skill set that he can do, things that he does well that maybe the other guy doesn't do as well. I think that it forces them to be able to prepare for both, and that's hard to do sometimes. So I just feel like that we just got to go with our gut, prepare them to play at a high level, and to see how the game plays itself out.
Saturday, you like Rich's response to all of that, but last year he talked about how much Xander helped him through the rotation. Now he's kind of that guy who's more experienced, more seasoned. When you are maybe playing two and you've got one guy who's younger, what do you need out of Rich in terms of maybe helping Peyton?
Yeah, I think you need what you saw, and that was being a great teammate, cheering him on, not going over and feeling sorry for yourself when you're not in the game. When he comes off, you're helping him, you're coaching him, you're encouraging him, you're helping him, the things he's seeing, because you guys have trained all week to prepare to play. And I think that's one of the foundational components of our program is LEO. And part of LEO is I don't care who gets the credit. And we say that from the very beginning. I've said that from the first time I got here. And that truly is LEO lived out, is that right there. And so I was really proud to see him respond that way, because that's not easy. It's easy to say it. It's hard to live it out. And truly making it not about you. That's the other part that you hear me say a lot of LEO. And so that's the things that, as I tell our team, these things aren't just phrases to be put on a wall. They have to be lived out. And when you have a chance to do it and you do it, I'm going to recognize you for that, because to me it shows you that you believe in it and you're actually letting it allow us to help us win games, which is the whole point.
And now you're just working out before the game on Saturday. Do you envision him getting back?
Yes, I really don't know yet. I think we'll probably know more today or tomorrow, but really excited about his return. So that's getting real close.
You haven't seen him yet. Where is he? What's his?
Yeah, just trying to bring him along. He had an injury during fall camp that he missed a lot of time with, and so getting him back in shape, getting him back where he needs to be able to help this football team. So he's working through that right now.
Tom, what about Florida International in terms of what you see now?
Yeah, it's a team that we've played now the last couple of years. So unusual to play a non-conference team 3 years in a row. And so same quarterback that they've had, so familiar with him. A couple of same receivers, same tailback. From a offensive perspective, some same personnel on defense, new coaching staff for sure. So you got a difference in overall scheme. But the thing I already reminded our players of very quickly was the fact that for the last 2 seasons in a row, they have had the lead to start the fourth quarter in both games. So they're a football team that has talent. They're a football team that has toughness and a lot of pride in what they do. Coach Davis is the new head coach there, has a tremendous amount of experience at all levels and a lot of great success at the collegiate and NFL level. So know him and respect him for what he's done on the field, and so they'll be ready. And they'll have a great plan. They'll do a great job coaching their guys. And they've had some adversity. You talk about what's going on in Florida, and I've spent 6 years of my coaching career in the state of Florida, and a lot of close friends down there. Obviously, University of South Florida most recently, and friends there as well, and players, coaches, recruits that were young men recruiting, players on our team, a lot of young men affected by what's going on right now. So our thoughts and prayers are with them at this time. And so they're dealing with all that as a team. They were in Birmingham, playing their game this past weekend, and they've been displaced because of that. So just they got a lot going on. So our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we're trying to do everything we can to help them, support them, and be thinking of them for sure.
Is there no chance that this game could be canceled?
That's out of other people's hands. I mean, there's been games canceled last weekend, and I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. I don't think anybody knows right now. Obviously the intent is we're playing the game, but I don't even think they know the damage. I know last night, just from my personal experience with our friends down there, we were on the phone with them up to 1 in the morning, checking on them, and they've kind of been hunkered down. They really weren't sure. I've been gotten some messages this morning from our close friends down in that area to say that they're okay, and which is great, but a lot of damage, So I don't think anybody knows really what's going on at this point, but the plan is to play the game.
You spoke after the game the other day just about Peyton and just his approach during the spring.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff. I mean, being a coach's son, do you notice that he just goes about things a certain way that are just different from other guys?
I think he does, and I think that's we've talked about as a coaching staff, when you recruit coaches' kids, they have a different mindset, just being raised around it and understanding certain things. And some kids, it's just their personality. He has a competitive toughness to him that is pretty special, I think, and just a physical toughness, a mental toughness that has shown out to me in certain situations as a young player since he's been here. And so that's the qualities you want. I mean, you want that in all your guys, but especially your leaders. And so that's why it didn't really surprise me. He thrust into a situation there. He never seemed rattled or fazed at all. He just played football, and ran the offense. So that's the kind of even-keeled, tough kind of guy you want. So I really was impressed with that. So hats off to him.
You talked a little bit about Saturday. You've talked about it before, but as you watch film, how do you feel Morgan graded out, particularly with those second half carries that he got?
He's showing on game day what I saw during practice, and he has the ability to great vision. And when he puts his foot in the ground, he got some tough yards, some critical times that I thought was big time for us. The ability to run the football late in the game, to eat the clock up. And we did a great job of controlling the clock. Even that drive where we did not score, we got the ball down to the 3. And that was a huge drive for us in eating up clock and taking the game out of their hands. And so, but you got to run the ball to do that. And so Morgan in that series was, ball security was great for him. And I just, all those little things you're looking for, understanding what we need on certain calls, not trying to get more than you need, just get what you need, keep those chains moving. So I thought he showed some maturity in how he ran the ball. And but some guys just have that ability to put that foot in the ground and get downhill, and he does that naturally. So been a pleasant surprise for sure during fall camp, and now he's showing it on game day, what we thought.
Yes, just to follow up with that, I mean, you've mentioned before with true freshmen getting the chance to play early, they have to earn the trust of their coaches, the position coaches, the coach, obviously. Was there a particular moment or several moments maybe in fall camp or at any other point where you, said, okay, yeah, he's earned my trust, he's earned the right to play and get the snaps that he's getting right now?
Yeah, I would say going live against our defense. That's when I knew, he was legit, because we got some good players on defense, and when you're live and you're playing to the whistle and you're tackling just like you do on game day, he was making plays, making guys miss, doing those things you saw him do on Saturday, subtle movements to understand where to take the ball. And like I said, you can see that against maybe a lesser opponent or whatever, and you're not really sure, but I knew going against our guys that he had it. So I think that we got a good one there.
You talked a little bit about going with your gut in regard to quarterbacks, who's on the field. Is part of that going to be predicated on how well the offensive line is pass protecting? Because there's a difference in mobility between the quarterbacks.
There is, and I think just, what they're what they feel they need to do, talking about they as in the opponent in their scheme. You know, you kind of saw what Virginia's plan was. And just to be quite frank, I mean, they do a lot of things, and more than most. And they really can make it hard to figure out what they're doing. They disguise things well. They run about every coverage that you can ever run, and that's not normal, you know. And so it makes it very difficult to trying to figure all that stuff out. And you're dropping 8 guys, and they just got more than you can. It's kind of like loading the box. They load the box, you can only block so many, you know. And so I just think that they were kind of going the opposite direction. They were doing everything there and really giving us some things that Peyton did really well, you know. So that it's kind of part of it. I think you just got to, you know, it's like anything else. You got to do what you have to do to win the game. And that's why you want a team full of guys that have a role to play, and they got to understand that. And how you respond to that is going to define our success. So very encouraged by some guys. There's different guys on defense based on the scheme that we're playing. They may play more than the other times that they, you know, for who we're playing. And to see guys to cheer on their teammates when they're not the one out there making plays is truly LEO. Great. Have a great day. LEO.